Have you ever received an official sounding call claiming your Medicare benefits were about to be suspended? Someone using government terminology, referencing your personal information, and creating urgent deadlines that forced immediate action. Eleanor Patterson, an 81-year-old breast cancer survivor from Tampa, Florida, thought she was protecting her essential health coverage when Medicare officials called about problems with her account. Within 2 weeks, she had lost $8,000 and nearly lost access to her legitimate medical care. Eleanor's story reveals how Medicare scammers specifically target seniors with serious health conditions, using their medical vulnerabilities and insurance fears as weapons. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how these health insurance fraudsters operate and learn the warning signs that could protect your Medicare benefits and your financial security. Stay until the end, because Eleanor's experience shows how sophisticated these Medicare scams have become, and why even informed seniors can fall victim to criminals who weaponize their health fears. The official call. It was a Wednesday morning in November when Eleanor's phone rang with a call that would change everything. She had just returned from her monthly oncology checkup when her caller ID showed what appeared to be a government number. "Mrs. Patterson? This is James Rodriguez from the Medicare Fraud Prevention Department. I'm calling regarding suspicious activity on your Medicare account that requires immediate verification to prevent suspension of your benefits." Eleanor's heart raced. As a cancer survivor who relied on Medicare for her ongoing medical care, the thought of losing her health coverage was terrifying. James continued with practiced authority, using official Medicare terminology and referencing specific policy numbers that seemed legitimate. "Mrs. Patterson, our fraud detection system has flagged unusual activity on your Medicare account. We've identified potentially fraudulent claims filed under your Medicare number, and federal regulations require us to suspend benefits pending verification unless we can confirm your identity immediately." The caller knew Eleanor's Medicare number, her address, and even referenced her recent cancer treatments. This personal information made his claims seem credible and urgent. James explained that Medicare fraud was costing the government billions, and they were cracking down on illegal use of Medicare benefits. Building medical fear. James continued explaining the Medicare fraud investigation with impressive knowledge of government procedures and medical terminology. He described how criminals were using stolen Medicare information to file fake medical claims, and how this could result in legitimate beneficiaries losing their coverage. "Mrs. Patterson, because fraudulent claims have been filed under your number, Medicare has placed a temporary hold on your account. This means that any medical appointments or prescriptions you try to fill in the next 48 hours may be denied until we complete this verification process." For Eleanor, who had prescription medications she needed to refill and an important follow-up appointment scheduled, this timeline was devastating. James seemed to understand her medical urgency and offered a solution. "I can expedite your case through our emergency verification process, but it requires immediate action. We need to confirm your banking information to verify your identity, and process a small verification fee to reactivate your account instantly." The caller explained that Medicare had implemented new security measures requiring identity verification through banking information. He claimed this was similar to how credit card companies verify unusual activity, making the request seem reasonable and necessary. "Mrs. Patterson, I understand your concern, but this is standard protocol for fraud prevention. The $200 verification fee will be refunded within 24 hours once your account is cleared. Without this verification, your Medicare benefits will be suspended for up to 30 days while we investigate." The pressure campaign, James intensified his approach by creating multiple layers of urgency and fear. He explained that Medicare fraud investigations were serious federal matters, and that delayed verification could result in Eleanor being flagged as a participant in the fraud scheme. "Mrs. Patterson, I need to be direct with you. If we cannot complete this verification today, your case will be forwarded to the Medicare Inspector General's office for formal investigation. This could result in permanent suspension of your benefits and potential legal complications. The threat of losing Medicare permanently terrified Eleanor. As someone who had battled cancer and needed ongoing medical monitoring, Medicare wasn't just insurance. It was her lifeline. James seemed sympathetic to her situation while maintaining official authority. "I've been handling Medicare fraud cases for 8 years, and I've seen what happens when people don't act quickly. Just last week, an elderly gentleman in your area lost his Medicare benefits for 6 months because he delayed verification. His medical bills exceeded $40,000 during that period." James provided Eleanor with specific wire transfer instructions, explaining that the verification fee needed to be sent to Medicare's fraud prevention account for immediate processing. He emphasized that this was the only way to prevent disruption of her medical care. The fatal transaction. Eleanor felt trapped between losing her essential medical coverage and paying the verification fee. James had created such convincing urgency around Medicare fraud that protecting her benefits seemed more important than questioning the process. She agreed to the wire transfer. James guided her through the process, providing detailed instructions for sending the money to what he claimed was Medicare's emergency verification account. Throughout the transaction, he continued reinforcing how this would protect her medical coverage and prevent legal complications. At the wire transfer location, Eleanor hesitated when asked about the purpose of the transfer. James, still on the phone, coached her to explain it was for Medicare account verification, which sounded official enough to satisfy the clerk's questions. Eleanor sent $8,000, believing she was protecting her medical coverage. James assured her that most of the money was a security deposit that would be refunded, and that her Medicare account would be fully reactivated within hours. James never called back. The devastating discovery. When Eleanor didn't receive confirmation of her account reactivation, she called the Medicare customer service number from her official Medicare card. The representative told her that Medicare never contacts beneficiaries by phone to request personal information or payment verification. "Mrs. Patterson, Medicare will never ask for your card details over the phone, and we absolutely never require verification fees. You've been the victim of a scam." Eleanor learned that legitimate Medicare fraud investigations are handled through official written communications, not phone calls demanding immediate payment. The devastating truth hit Eleanor. She had been completely scammed. The criminals had used her cancer history and Medicare dependence to manipulate her into sending money for non-existent fraud protection. The health impact beyond losing $8,000, Eleanor suffered additional consequences from the scam. The stress of being victimized affected her health, causing sleepless nights and anxiety that interfered with her cancer recovery. She became afraid to answer her phone and suspicious of legitimate medical communications. Eleanor also learned that the scammers might have compromised her Medicare information, requiring her to monitor her legitimate Medicare statements for actual fraudulent claims. The irony wasn't lost on her. Criminals warning about Medicare fraud had potentially exposed her to real Medicare fraud. The investigation. Medicare fraud investigators explained that Eleanor had been targeted by a sophisticated operation that specifically focused on cancer patients and other chronically ill seniors. The scammers obtained patient information through various illegal means and used medical vulnerabilities to create convincing fraud scenarios. The investigation revealed that the same group had scammed dozens of Medicare beneficiaries across multiple states, stealing over $500,000 by exploiting health insurance fears. They specifically targeted seniors with serious medical conditions because these individuals were most afraid of losing Medicare coverage. Police discovered that the scammers used spoofed phone numbers to appear as government calls. Sophisticated scripts that incorporated real Medicare terminology and detailed personal information purchased from illegal data brokers. Warning signs. Eleanor missed looking back. Eleanor identified several red flags she wished she had recognized. Unsolicited calls about Medicare problems. Legitimate Medicare communications come through official mail or the secure Medicare online portal. Medicare representatives don't make surprise calls about account issues, immediate payment demands for account verification. Medicare never requires beneficiaries to pay verification fees or send money to protect their benefits. All Medicare services are covered through the program itself. Pressure to act within hours or face benefit suspension. Real Medicare account issues are resolved through official processes that provide adequate time for verification and resolution. Requests for complete Medicare card information over the phone. Legitimate Medicare representatives already have access to your account information and don't need you to provide card details during verification calls. The road to recovery. While Eleanor never recovered her $8,000, her experience led to increased Medicare fraud awareness in her community. She began volunteering with senior organizations to educate other Medicare beneficiaries about these sophisticated health insurance scams. Eleanor learned to verify all Medicare-related communications through official channels before taking any action. She realized that her fear of losing medical coverage had made her vulnerable to manipulation, and that legitimate Medicare issues are never resolved through urgent phone calls demanding immediate payment. Final thoughts. Eleanor's story demonstrates that Medicare scammers prey on our most essential need: access to medical care. These criminals understand that seniors with serious health conditions will do anything to protect their Medicare benefits, including sending money to prevent coverage interruption. The key lesson from Eleanor's experience is this: legitimate Medicare operations never require phone verification with personal information or immediate payments to protect benefits. Real Medicare communications come through official channels and provide adequate time for proper verification. If you receive calls about Medicare problems, hang up and contact Medicare directly using the customer service number on your official Medicare card. If someone claims urgent Medicare action is needed, verify the information through official Medicare channels before responding. Remember, protecting your Medicare benefits means protecting them from scammers, not paying scammers who claim to protect them for you. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.